Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to episode 26 of the Handbags, Manbags, Bumbags podcast. This week, we bring you our Euros preview. So we're going to be diving into many aspects of this year's delayed European Championships, even though it's still taking the Euro 2020 name. But first things first, I advise you to go back and watch the episode we did last week with Chris Coles from BBC Radio Derby. Me and Rob interviewed him, former staff graduate. So go back and listen to that before you come back to this. Really fun episode to record and a genuine, decent bloke. So to start with, we will run through who we've got getting out of each group and working our way through the tournament. So the way I've done this in the edit, you will see from the video, once it's been edited, that I've got each of our predictions coming on with that little phone icon. So you'll see scrolling through who we have predicted in each group and the best 4 third places. So without further ado, we'll start with the group stages. And I'm not sure there'll be that much controversy, really, with the group stages. So let's start with the Group A, shall we? So Italy, Wales, Turkey and Switzerland. What orders have we got going for that then?
So for my Group A, I have Italy finishing top, and then I have Turkey coming in second, Switzerland third, and then Wales dead last.
Okay, interesting. I've gone, well, I think Italy's a no-brainer for the top of the group. I think Italy looked quite strong this year.
Yeah, they did.
Adding fuel to the fire, considering they didn't go to Russia in 2018. But for me, it's Italy and Wales, top 2. I've taken a punt on Wales. A big punt, considering it's Rob Page's first tournament for the Welsh. But they've got the quality, and realistically, I think they'll come above the Swiss, but it'll be between Turkey and Wales for second and third. And I have got Turkey in third, and they are, well, we'll come to it later, but they are one of my best 4 third places.
Yeah.
I've got Italy to win it, and I think there's always a group where there is an upset, and I think this would be my banker where there could be an upset. But I've gone Turkey in second, Wales in third, and Switzerland last.
Interesting.
I think so. There's always one group, isn't that just goes out of nowhere. So I mean, the Costa Rica story in 2014 World Cup is the obvious one. There's always There's always one that ran, and I think that could be in this group. And I actually think the opening game of the tournament between Italy and Turkey could be the decisive game in this group.
I think you could be right.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
If Turkey can pull off an upset there, it throws it wide open, that group.
Turkey's record against bigger teams is very good. I mean, the last 2 times they played the French, they've beat them and drew to them. We all know how good France are.
I saw something the other day that I don't think Italy have lost an international game since like 2018 or something stupid like that. So they're looking incredibly strong.
They are indeed. Yes, they've got an older defence, but going forward, they've got a lot of young talent and just genuine good Serie A talent. You've got the likes of Insigne, Ciro Immobile up top. I mean,
Chiesa as well.
As well. That's probably your front 3 for Italy. So that's a pretty dangerous front 3 for the Italians. And I think it's a no-brainer that they will come top of the group. But it's interesting with the second, third, and fourth in this group because we've all got different ones, realistically, in different orders.
Yeah.
So I've got Wales come second, Turkey third. Mm-hmm. Well, I think the majority of us have got Switzerland coming bottom, but it's that sort of thing. It's that sort of thing. Either one of those 3 sides could come in either one of those positions, depending on how the opening fixtures go.
Wales and Switzerland for me were like a toss of a coin, really. I just went for Switzerland because I just have a feeling. Yeah.
I think it's those 2. I think they'll both finish on 1 point, and it will just be who concedes the least amount of goals to Turkey and Italy. But I think they'll draw to each other, and then Turkey and Italy will beat both of them.
Well, the only way I can see it, if Wales do beat Switzerland, I can see Turkey then. Well, obviously, I've seen Turkey going in as one of the best third places. So obviously, they've got to Wales, Turkey, and Switzerland. They've got to really be beating each other realistically if that's going to happen for Turkey to be one of the best third places. Yeah. But before we waffle on too much like we have done in previous weeks, we'll go to Group B, and I think this is a pretty easy one to predict. I think we may all have the same order for this one: Belgium, Denmark, Russia, Finland.
Yeah.
What I have got to say, what I will say about Group A as well is that statistically, the majority of people do agree with Jake. I was looking at the most popular prediction that is the same as Jake's.
Interesting.
And actually, I have gone a bit different in Group B. I've gone Russia second, Denmark third.
Throwing a curveball out there, real big curveball.
Yeah, I'm not in the majority on that one.
Talk me through that. Talk me through your decision on that one then, because Russia, yes, they had a brilliant World Cup in 2018, obviously on home soil, but are they going to really do that again?
I think they might. I think they can do. I just think Denmark have been overachieving for a long time. I think it's about time. I just think that there's not real quality, and I suppose you could say the same about Russia. But if you like you say, when you think of Denmark's attack, you just kind of think Christian Eriksen. You just think of them as a much more defensive side. Where I think Russia have actually got a little more of a unit going forward. A lot of them doing well, admittedly in the Russian league, which is obviously not quite as exciting as a lot of the bigger leagues. But a lot of the attackers are having good seasons. It's just, and so I think there was a bit of 2018 in my memory as well. I can just see them coming second.
Interesting.
I can see them. I think Belgium will just get easy 9 points.
It'll be a 9 pointer for Belgium. I think
I'd expect Finland to get 0 as well. But I could see Russia beating Denmark, which would then put them above them. If we're assuming everyone beats Finland and loses to Denmark, I could see Russia winning that game. It's
a difficult one for Finland because if I'm not mistaken, it is their first tournament, right? I'm not entirely sure. Well, their first tournament for quite a while.
Yeah, probably. They're not really a nation.
It's not one of those nations that you'd expect to be getting into the European Championship or the World Cup regularly. But they've been drawn a bit of a short straw. They've got a tough group, realistically. Well, Belgium are going to waltz it, and realistically, it's like Rob said, whoever wins out of the Denmark and Russia game goes through as second place. But then
that's my logic, really. That I can.
It's whether the third place gets us one of the best third place spots.
Yeah, that was my logic. It was that. It comes down to that game, and I can see Russia winning that tie. That was my
I actually think I could see Denmark getting a draw from Belgium. To be honest,
it's not out of the question at all. It's not out of the question at all.
Denmark are a solid side. Like that, Kasper Schmeichel in goal. They've got Christensen, but
they've got a lot of defensive options. Belgium, no, not Belgium. Denmark. They've got Joachim Andersen. They've got Andreas Christensen, Vestergaard. They've got a load of centre back options, which are all solid together. So, who knows?
Yeah,
it's definitely not out of the question at all. Definitely not out of the question. So let's move on to Group C. Again, I think we may well have all different orders in this as well. Other than Netherlands being top, I think we've all got Netherlands being top, and we expect them to romp that group. The only game I can see them slipping up in is probably the Ukraine game for me, the Netherlands. Either Ukraine or Austria, one of the two. But I do think Netherlands will be a 9 pointer like Belgium.
This is another one I could see being a dodgy group. And I said one of the ones of the upsets, just because Netherlands have not looked convincing recently. I could see them quite easily dropping down to second or third.
Possibly.
I think they'll finish top 2. I don't think they'll drop to third, but they could draw against probably Ukraine or something like that. Because I have obviously Netherlands, Austria, Ukraine, and North Macedonia.
Yeah.
But Austria and Ukraine was a bit of a didn't know who to put second, so I just went for Austria because,
it's an interesting one for me because
that's what I went. I went the same as Jake, and the same sort of debate. I think I went Austria just because a bit more. They've got a few more star players, really. It's an
interesting one for me because I'm throwing a bit of a curveball like that. I have got Austria in second. I've got Netherlands and Austria as my top 2, but then I've got North Macedonia coming in third. I just feel like their first tournament, they're going to throw a curveball out there. They're under no pressure at all, so they're just going to go out there and put their hearts on the line. That's the sort of approach that I've taken, and I do think they might actually scumbag a win from either Austria or Ukraine.
I could see that happening definitely. To be fair, but they beat Germany.
They have beaten Germany, in their qualifying groups.
I think it was. Yeah. So they're obviously not an awful side. But...
No, but it's North Macedonia. You don't really associate. You don't know many North Macedonian players. In fact, I only know 2: Ezgian Alioski and Grob Pandev. So
Enis Bardi
and him. And
the guy from Napoli, Elmas, I think his name is.
Yeah.
See, they've just not got that many star players, but they're going to be a good mould together, and they'll all play well together. So who knows? It's an open group. But let's move on to the second home nation. which is England, and Scotland, actually. So,
yeah.
What do we think of this one? I've gone England, Croatia as the top two, because the thing is with England, we've been drawn a nightmare group here, really, because even if we finish top, we're going to be drawing either France, Portugal, or Germany. And even if we finish second, we're facing one of those sides in the quarterfinals. So it's a lose-lose, really, from our group.
Yeah, rough draw.
It is indeed. But I have got England and Croatia. England number 1, Croatia number 2. Although Croatia are not as strong as they were in 2018. They've definitely dipped off a lot. And because Scotland are on home soil as well, I can see them causing an upset and getting in as one of the best third places. And that's what I've predicted for Group D.
I have the same order as that. I was debating Scotland and Czech Republic, third or fourth, but I saw Czech Republic play last night, I think it was, and they were absolutely dreadful.
They were pretty rubbish.
Yeah.
And Scotland
Italy
puts up a really good fight against the
them.
Dutch. Scotland puts up a great fight against the Dutch. So who knows? But that's the way I'd see it. But to be honest, I can't see England going that far in this tournament. As much as it pains me as a Brit and as an Englishman, I just don't see it. The draw's been horrible to us.
I've gone the same. I've gone the same order, and the fact Scotland being at home for the 2 games against Croatia and Czech Republic was a reason I put them third. Because I think, sort of having however many fans it will be, 20% capacity. I think we're working towards at Hampden.
Yeah. I think there's at least 23,000 at Wembley. I think that's a guarantee. Yeah. Depends on the next stage of the roadmap. But
so however many it is at Hampden against, you say Czech Republic were terrible last game they played. Scotland fans there behind the team. I think they'll win that game, and that'll be enough to see them to third.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. So I think that was we all predicted the same there in that group. Let's go on to Group E, which is Spain, Poland, Sweden, and Slovakia. And that's the order I've got us in: Spain, Poland, Sweden, Slovakia.
Same here. Yeah.
I think this is one of the easier groups, really. It's kind of just like, how in the Nations League you've got each of the tiers. Yeah, I feel like this is effectively taking a team from each tier here, really, pretty much.
But the thing is, Poland were in tier. What it feels like. I think Poland were in tier A actually, but then actually did get relegated.
I don't know what tiers they're actually in, but that's what it feels like. It feels like these guys all just seem like a tier apart from each other. Yeah. Really, it's like there's ever a group that looks like it should be 9-6-3-0. Is this one?
Yeah, it has got that sort of vibe to it. But the only question for me is whether Sweden will get one of the best third places. For me, no.
Yeah,
same for me. They miss out on my one.
What are you thinking, Jay?
I do have another third best. You do.
Well, we'll see.
I can just see Sweden. I can just see Sweden, Slovakia being the most boring game in the tournament, just like 0-0.
Well, it does bring us on to arguably the most interesting group of the whole tournament.
The group of death.
France, Portugal, Germany, and Hungary. So I've got Hungary winning the group. Germany coming second. Portugal third. France, not really. France number 1. I think they're going to be a brilliant bet for this year's tournament. Even with that group of death, I have got Portugal to come second.
Yeah,
and then Germany third, but they'll be one of the best third places. Because I can see them getting points off Portugal.
Yeah, same. I think I think home advantage will be key for Germany here, because I think if you take away the fact that they're playing 3 games in Munich, I would have said that they were one of the teams that we could see slip up, and with Hungary having games at home, potentially could have nabbed third. But I think 3 games in front of their own fans, you're going to have to expect them to be on full form. But still won't be quite enough to get top 2 for me.
I know they've dipped off, but they still have an incredibly good squad.
Yeah. And obviously they've got Hansi Flick taking charge. So, have I got that wrong?
I think it happens after the Euros.
Is it after the Euros?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it happens after the Euros. I think this is the last tournament.
I think it might be. That does sound right.
Yeah,
it does ring a bell now. But anyway, never mind. Best 4 third place teams. We've kind of touched upon it, but Germany, Scotland, North Macedonia, and Turkey are the ones that I've gone for.
I've gone Switzerland, Scotland, Sweden, and Germany.
I've gone Denmark, Scotland, Germany, and Ukraine.
Interesting. Well, it does mean we will have different games for the last 16, but it's the general gist is there. Well, as you can probably see on the screen, my round of 16 games, I've got Belgium, Germany, Italy, Austria, France, Turkey, Croatia, Poland, Spain, North Macedonia, England, Portugal, Eeks, Netherlands, Scotland, and obviously the final one is Wales, Denmark. So it'll be interesting indeed to see what happens from those. I think we'll work on the games that we've all got the same of those. So which out of those ones have we all got the same?
I have Belgium, Germany, Italy, Austria. I've then got France, Denmark, so that one's different. Croatia, Poland's the same. Spain, Ukraine, that's a different one. England, Portugal is the same. Netherlands, Scotland is the same. And then I've got Russia and Turkey.
Well, we can work off that Spain-Ukraine one because Ukraine and North Macedonia are obviously the same group. So
yeah, that's how it works. They're all done by the same thing.
Yeah, it's weird how they've done it because the Wales-Denmark game are two runners-up games. They're two runners-ups of groups.
Yeah, there's a couple of ties that are two runners-up, which seems a bit harsh.
Same with Croatia and
group
Poland.
Winners against each other.
That's why I'd favour coming second in our group for England. But then that does mean we may well get France in the quarterfinals.
It was my round of 16. I've got Belgium, Sweden, and then I've got Italy, Austria, which is one of the same games. Then I've got France, Switzerland, Croatia, Poland, Spain versus Scotland, England versus Portugal, which is another same tie as you guys, Netherlands, Germany, and then Turkey and Denmark.
Interesting to say the least.
Different.
They are different, but it's just the way that we've predicted it. So
yeah,
we'll see how it comes out.
My prediction will be completely dead on, so we might as well work off my ones. Well, I did technically win our EFL preview with the last thing we did because all three of us got one right, but I was one losing finals, but I was the only one to get one team right in the final in League Two. So technically, I was the best at that. So I've got previous coming into this.
Right. Well, if
I was best of a bad bunch when it came to playoffs, but I bloody hope mine are right, as you'll find out as you get through.
Well, I'll run through the 8 that I've got going into the quarters. So it's Belgium, Italy, which would be interesting. I've also got France versus Poland, Spain, Portugal to knock us out, unfortunately, and then the Netherlands versus Denmark.
My quarterfinals are all the same, apart from I have Germany playing Denmark.
Right.
I've only got one of the same to yours. Belgium, Italy. I've then got Croatia to beat Poland, so repeat at the World Cup final when they play France. England, Spain, and then Netherlands, Turkey.
Interesting.
Have you put England to beat Portugal just out of hope, Rob, more than expectation?
No. And move on.
3 lines on the shirt. It's not 30 years of hurt. It's going to be 55 years of hurt.
Yeah,
but
I think mine might need a bit of explaining the semi-finals.
Go on then. Yeah, I'll let you lead on it then. The semi-finals.
Well, we'll start the easy one. Belgium, France. Well,
I've got that one as well.
Italy do look very strong. To be fair, I could see that potentially being an upset.
Possibly.
And then the controversial prediction that I've made, if you argue that England to beat Portugal isn't controversial, is that I've then gone Turkey to beat the Netherlands in the quarterfinals because the Netherlands.
See, I wouldn't even say that's that controversial. Really, I'd say that is possible. Absolutely possible. You think about Turkey; they've got some really good players, especially defensively. They've got the likes of Soyuncu, Kabak, Demiral, and then obviously Burak Yilmaz, who's been doing absolute wonders for Lille in the league this year.
I just think because like you said, the players they have, their record against some of the bigger nations recently, I think they're doing incredibly well. They always seem to get something out of the games, and then it's kind of the opposite from Netherlands. Look completely unconvincing. They've got the talent, and they're just not worked together properly. I mean, Scotland played very well, but if you're Netherlands, you should be comfortably beating Scotland.
Yeah,
especially with Scotland had 5 or 6 players missing in isolation.
Most of the midfield was missing. Most of the Scotland midfield was missing.
So Scotland you expect almost completely different midfield from Scotland, and you get to the tournament and Netherlands couldn't beat them. So that's not exactly a good confidence booster for the tournament. So I can see if it is them two in the quarters, I can see Turkey winning it.
I can back
Turkey
that.
had previous, don't they? I think Turkey made the semi-finals in 2008.
Might have done, yeah. There's always one shock team.
Before I got into football, that I don't know.
There's always one team that goes further than everybody expects. Obviously, it was Wales in 2016. Go a while back. If you go quite far back, obviously it's Greece winning the whole thing. I think Czech Republic, there was one for you further back as well that got far. There's always one, and I think this year that will be Turkey.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but I think 2008, I think Russia and Turkey got to the semi-finals. Might be totally wrong with that, but
don't know.
Well, we'll have a look, shall we? So, in terms of my last four, I've got Belgium to play France in the semis, which I think we've all got, except for Jake, I think, who's got Italy, France.
Italy, France, yeah.
And then I've got Portugal, Netherlands.
Yes, so I've got Italy, France, but then I've got Portugal playing Germany. So three of the teams from the last group are in the semi-finals in mine. Yeah, 3 teams from Group F in the semi-finals.
I can confirm that Turkey did get to the semi-finals in 2008.
Yeah, I thought so.
Russia didn't. Russia were in the quarters.
Russia didn't quarterfinals out.
Half knows what he's on about.
Oh no, sorry. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. They did get to the semi-finals. This website is atrocious.
You just made me doubt myself, Ben.
No, they did. They did. Yeah, they did.
Oh, so it's actually Ben that doesn't know what he's on about then.
No, this website's atrocious.
What a shock.
I mean, that all confirms
Russia played Spain and Germany played Turkey.
The fact that you managed, just that
apologies.
That whole little mix up there, that was maybe completely convinced that Hansi Flick's starting after the Euros. Because if Jake thinks one way and you think the other, that's just, I think I better side with Jake after that. I'd back
Jake any day of the week, but I haven't got a clue half the time, which is probably why I waffle on so much on this podcast. But never mind. Final, I've got Netherlands versus France and France to win it. Simple as.
I just can't see Netherlands making the final. They just look so
you never
rubbish.
know. You never know.
I've got France versus England final, and you can't actually have a go at me that time for putting. You can have a go of saying England to beat Portugal, England to beat Spain. They should beat Turkey, and they also beat France. It's coming home. It's coming home. England are going to win the Euros. England are going to win the Euros.
Well, at least
one beat France in the final. We'll get absolutely battered all game. Bag one on the break, 1-0.
Declan Rice to score the winner.
No, he's not going to be up there. I said counter-attack goal.
It'd just be typical of former Irish international scoring for England in a Euros final.
Yeah. Go with Jack Grealish, then he's more likely to score if you want a former Irish international.
But at least one of us has optimism,
prediction.
Rob. At least one of us has optimism because me and Jake have both got
16.
Yeah, so have I.
And my original prediction is already off the table because I said when the squad came out, I think this just sets up for a Trent Alexander-Arnold winning goal to bring it home for England. He's bloody injured now, isn't he? So
is it?
That original prediction's gone.
So
my final is a repeat of 2016. I've got France and Portugal, but I've got France getting redemption this time and winning.
Okay.
So France, France are going to lose to that crap Portuguese team 4 years ago, and they'll beat this better one as revenge.
Yeah. So I've also asked Jake and Rob to do a couple of predictions as well. So we've got the tournament's top goal scorer.
Yes.
We've got the most bookings for both team and player. We've got the most assists, most likely to get a move to a big club, a rising star, and the player of the tournament. So my top scorer is actually from my winning side. It is France. It's Kylian Mbappe because why not? It'll be either him or Benzema.
I've got Mbappe top scorer for me as well.
I have Romelu Lukaku just because I think he'll finish the group on about 5. How easy they'll find it. I think he could quite easily come out of the group stage with 4 or 5 goals because they should probably put a few.
Lukaku was my top scorer, but then when I did the knockout rounds, I obviously have Belgium going out in the quarterfinals. I think the extra games for Mbappe will.
Yeah, I've got him in the semi-finals. I just think I think he'll have a comfortable. If the group goes how we expect them to, in Belgium's case, he could quite easily be walking away with 4 or 5 goals.
Yeah,
and from that point, he probably only needs 2 in the knockout stages, and all that'll be enough to get him over the line. Because Kane won the World Cup one with 6, I think, didn't he? So
a lot of those were
4 in the group.
They count.
Well,
so
they count, yeah.
They do count. So we'll go to most bookings now. So I'll let you tell your team first. Who've we got for the team to win most bookings?
I had no idea, so I went logically based on who I've got to go far in the tournament and said Turkey.
I've got
the Netherlands, but I've got
Italy. I've gone Italy because it just seems like the type of team just to get loads of bookings from just cynical fouls and stuff
someone like Jorginho just stops a counter attack and gets booked once again.
Yeah.
True, but
I had no clue whatsoever, so I just thought I'll put Turkey to get semis. They probably can see quite a lot of free kicks, so they'll build some bookings up.
Yeah, but to be fair, although I've gone Netherlands to get the most bookings collectively as a team, the actual player isn't from the Netherlands. I've gone for OK Yakushlu from Turkey. He's only played. He was signed in January in the Premier League and accumulated 4 bookings in the second half of the season. So. It gives me a bit of a logic to suggest that he's going to be accumulating a lot of bookings in that group.
I had no idea again, so I just went Harry Maguire because he'd probably get about 4.
I was about to say my player's Chiellini, but if I knew Maguire was going to start, I would have said him because I think he got something like 14 yellow cards in the Premier League. So
it's just going to be
of anybody.
You just say especially when playing like Port. If I've got us to beat Portugal, Spain, France in the final, and my one, he's definitely going to get booked in all 3 of those games.
Yeah,
he'd get a suspension. He'd get a suspension, so he probably wouldn't play in all of them. But he'd probably still accumulate the most bookings. So if we play Portugal in the last 16, like we all got us to, there's definitely some sort of elbow on Ronaldo that gives him a booking. Yeah. Just nudging him to come back to Man United, which I know Jake would love to happen.
Yes, please.
Dream on. Most assists. I've got a Portuguese player for my most assists.
I don't. I have a Frenchman.
I also have a Frenchman.
Interesting. I've got Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes.
Bruno Fernandes?
Yes. Yeah. I just feel like he's going to be... He's going to be instrumental for Ronaldo getting his goals in this season's tournament.
Well, I'd like to see that happen, but I have Griezmann.
That's who I have as well.
Interesting.
Same wavelength, Rob. Same wavelength.
Yeah. It's because by the looks of the team France battle against Wales, it looks like Griezmann's going to be playing just off Mbappe and Benzema, which in more of an attacking mid role, which I think will be his role to link the midfield from the likes of Kante and Pogba to
feeding balls into Benzema and Mbappe is
that France team's pretty much what they'll be lining up in the tournament. Bar Kante for Tolisso, I think I read somewhere. So we will.
He's not really going to have to do much to get assists either, because really all he's going to have to do is put a half decent pass into Mbappe and Benzema, and they will finish it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I would have said Bruno was the first name I thought of, but just purely because England are going to knock Portugal out in the last 16, he's not going far enough in the tournament to get past Griezmann.
So let's move on to the most likely to move to a big club. So the next two, this one and the Rising Star, are tough ones, I admit. But the player I've gone for is one that we've mentioned in previous episodes. I think it was episode 24, actually, in our 3 ins and outs at Premier League clubs. And I've gone for Pedro Goncalves.
That's a good shout, that is, actually.
Yeah.
Very good shout.
Whether he'll start or not for Portugal in the tournament, I do not know, but he's going to be instrumental for them, to say the least.
I also have a Portuguese player, but I've gone for Renato Sanchez. Obviously, he's won the league title with Lille, but Lille aren't a massive club, and I think he's built his career to a point where he can now move to a big club again.
Yeah.
I was torn, but I've also got another one. I've got Manuel Locatelli from Sassuolo. Because he plays
a good shout as well, yeah.
Yeah. I was torn between those two.
Yeah, great shout again.
My one's a bit outside the box and involves my slightly dodgy predictions coming through. Depends what you class as a big club, but I don't think it's going to be one for the likes of Madrid, Barcelona, Liverpool, United. Not going to be one of those. But I've gone for Yusuf Yaziki, or however you say it, from Turkey. If they're going to make the semi-finals, they're going to need somebody to be creative. I expect Burak Yilmaz to be the one putting the ball in the net, but they're going to need somebody to be creating the chances for him. And obviously played together at Lille, just won the French title. I think it was 7 goals and 5 assists. I think he got this season, only 24 years old. Could quite see him moving to some sort of a high-level Italian club like an AC Milan, somewhere like that, if he has a good tournament.
Yeah,
quite possibly. I could see that
I think
happening.
if Turkey, if I've got Turkey get the semi-final, someone's got to get them there, and I think he could be one of the key men.
Yeah,
absolutely. Good shout. Good shout for sure. Rising stars. Then I'll let you two say yours first because this is a tough one again.
Yeah, I was really torn, so I went with Alexander Isak for Sweden because I'm pretty sure he leads the line for Sweden now. So I've gone for him. Obviously, he had a lot of hype around him when he was younger, but he's obviously moved away to Real Sociedad and he's slowly rebuilt his career. I think he got 14 goals in La Liga, so I expect him to have a decent tournament. So I have Sweden getting into the round of 16, so I think he can bag a few goals.
Interesting, good shout.
Expectation on his shoulders as well with Zlatan's injury.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I've gone for a bit of a cop out because it's already relatively well known, but I've gone for an 18-year-old from part of the Spanish team. Don't know how much he'll play, but I've gone with
I think
Pedri.
I know who you're going to say. Yeah, I was going to say Pedri.
Yeah, he was one of my other options, but I decided against him because he already plays. Yeah.
It's a bit of a cop out, but really, admittedly, though, if you're good enough to be called up for your national team and play for Barcelona at 18 years old, you're clearly a very good talent. Somebody who would have, I probably wouldn't have been probably too good to be classed as rising star if they were fit. But Ansu Fati, if he was fit, would have been massive for Spain in this tournament, I think.
Yeah,
but absolutely. Obviously, he's suffered quite a big injury back in November or however long ago it was. Hasn't recovered yet.
I was looking at Pedri, and he has played a part in Spain's last few international games, so he definitely play some games.
Yeah, to play this much, to be 18 years old, I think he's only like a couple of months or so younger than me, I think, and he's playing for the Spain team, starting for Barcelona. Looks like a real talent, and I think this could be the big stepping stone. A couple of big goals off the bench, maybe if Spain go as far as the quarters or further. Could be a big turning point, and obviously get him into his usual starting lineup at the new rebuild at Barca.
Yeah,
interesting.
Definitely see that. Yeah,
interesting. Well, I haven't said mine yet because mine is a bit out there. It's not really one that you'd really think of, and he's from a German league team. He is Austrian, which makes it an interesting nation to say the least. But he plays for Hoffenheim. Christoph Baumgartner from Hoffenheim, only 21 years of age. I could see him having a really big future if he moves on from Hoffenheim one day.
Yeah, it's not a name I would have thrown out there myself, but you never know.
You do never know.
Austria have a decent tournament.
It's certainly out there, but we shall see. But I'd agree with Pedri, that's for sure.
Yeah. Somebody else I did think of was Jude Bellingham, but I just don't think he'll play as much as Pedri will.
No.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I think that'll be the name on the list for maybe not the World Cup. Potentially could still be too early World Cup next year, but 2024, I think that'll be one of the first names on the team sheet for England will be Jude Bellingham. If he's this good at 17, then you can only imagine what it'll be like, even just 2-3 years' time, a couple of tournaments when he'll still be 20. It's going to be unbelievable for England.
Crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to finish, I'll get your player of the tournament.
I've gone for Mbappe. I've got my top scorer in France to win the Euros, so I think it's just the most logical option for me.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I've gone N'Golo Kante.
Yeah, I can see that. Definitely with the amount of momentum and hype he's got around him at the moment. Yeah. I can definitely see him winning a player of the tournament or something like that. Yeah,
makes a lot of sense as well if you've got France to win it.
Yeah.
So obviously I've got England to win it, and which is going to be right, obviously. So I've gone with Harry Kane because he'll probably have about 15 goal involvements or something stupid because everything we do goes through him.
Yeah, revolves around Harry Kane.
He'll finish with like 6 or 7 goals and about 4 assists or something stupid because nobody else can do anything without him being involved. Apparently for England, if you look how terrible we are whenever he doesn't play.
Absolutely.
Most of Rob's predictions are hanging on the fact that England are going to win the Euros.
You're not going to be. You're laughing now. Come back at whenever the tournament ends in like mid-July, and then when I've got everything dead on, including England to win.
Listen,
come back to me at 10 o'clock on the 11th of July when Harry Kane's lifting the trophy, and we'll play this clip back.
Listen, I'm supporting North Macedonia in this tournament, so I know Jake's supporting Portugal.
He's a fraud as well.
Yeah. both frauds. But anyway, that brings our dreadful Euros preview to an end. Whether we get anything right is a matter of fact. There's been no statistically driven analysis at all on any of this, and half the stuff we've got wrong. So there we go. That's just what we do.
You've got half the stuff wrong, Ben.
Yes, I've got half the stuff wrong. That's just what we do here at the HMB podcast. So yeah, pretty dreadful on my part. So I apologise for my performance.
I'll be preparing that gif of Nigel Farage in the European Commons or whatever it is. It's like, you all laughed at me, but I have to say you're not laughing now. I'll get that ready in the chat when England play Turkey in the semi.
Well, we shall see. But I think we're all pretty set on France to win the tournament, other than Rob, who's a Brexiteer in his own right. But we shall see. So for episode 26, that does bring it to an end. Not a very long one this week, because I don't really fancy dragging it out too much. But anyway, it's the end of episode 26.
I can just sit and explain how England are going to win it for another 10 minutes if you want extra content.
No, I'm bored. So let's bring it to an end. Thank you very much for listening. Take care, and we shall see you next week.
See ya.
Bye.